What is up, you guys, and welcome to the Upper 90 YouTube soccer channel. Today, we're talking about Manchester City and Harry Kane. They finally placed their first bid for the elite striker known as Harry Kane, who wants to leave Tottenham. So let's dive deeper into this. For those that don't know who I am, my name is Mike. I love talking about football. If you are new to this channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate that. That helps grow this YouTube channel. Today we're talking about none other Harry Kane and Manchester City and Tottenham. Now, this morning it broke that Manchester City finally threw a bid out for Harry Kane. Now, it was only 100 million, which 100 million is quite a bit, along with a player that maybe Manchester City want to offload. Those three players being Laporte, Gabriel Jesus, and Raheem Sterling. Now, three players that I don't think really want to leave Manchester City, but at the same time, they could be a solid fit for Manchester or for Tottenham. Now, obviously, let's talk about Harry Kane. We'll talk about those three players in just a little bit. So, Harry Kane obviously has gone out. He talked to Gary Neville on a golf course how he wanted to leave Tottenham.
The club made the change. As players, did you think that's harsh just before that final? Obviously, it's difficult for you to speak about it because it's a club decision, but
he wants to win trophies as a player, and rightfully so. Every player wants to do this. Now, it's hard for Harry Kane because he supports Spurs. He's been with Tottenham for such a long time. He's ridden the highs. He's been with the lows. He's seen a lot happen through the years of Tottenham, but I think he's finally had enough after they lost Jose Mourinho when he was sacked right before the final cup against Manchester City, none other than them. They happened to lose that one as well, and I think that was the breaking point for Harry Kane, and he wants to leave this club because, again, he's such an elite forward. He deserves to go somewhere and actually win some trophies before he retires. Now, again, Man City being such a phenomenal team, it really, as a Chelsea fan, is going to hurt if he goes there or goes to any other team, because any team he goes to, he's going to make them that much better. Now, obviously, Man City is already up here, so Harry Kane going there is going to bring him up even higher and push them even further to beat pretty much every team in the Premier League. Not only that, it's going to make Tottenham that much worse. Now, setting everything aside, I think Harry Kane should leave. Again, I don't really want him to go to Manchester City. I want him to go somewhere else. But for him as a player, this is the most likely option because Manchester United, Chelsea, yes, you may win something, but you may not. Whereas Man City, you're almost guaranteed to win at least one trophy within the season. Look at this past season. Look at the seasons before. Pep Guardiola has a track record of winning multiple trophies, and this is a team that can see Harry Kane finally lift some type of trophy. So, again, I don't fault the player for wanting to leave. The thing is, he still has 3 years on his contract, which he signed a couple seasons ago, which at the time probably looked really promising due to the fact he's had multiple injuries and wanted to make sure that he was with the team for X amount of years. Now, looking back at it, it seems like this might be the final hinge that prevents him from going anywhere. So we'll see what happens with that, because Daniel Levy, I don't know what goes on with his head, because he seems to be one of those guys that can't make a right decision and keeps going back and forth. Just even look at the managers that they're trying to bring in. They were in talks with different players or different managers and haven't been able to find anyone. And that's going to be a huge problem for Harry Kane along with Tottenham, because right now they don't know which direction they're going to go in, because they don't have a manager that can help steer them or guide them to where they want to go next season, and therefore it's another push for Harry Kane to leave. Now, Daniel Levy, being the guy that's going to be kind of in control for this, should look at this as an opportunity to rebuild this team. Now, the fact that Manchester City are offering certain players to Tottenham, they should really look at this and try to understand which player would be best fitted for Tottenham. Now, I think Laporte is probably the best option, which I know most people don't probably think so. But looking at Tottenham's back line, their defense is atrocious. There's no other way to describe how poorly their defense is. Now, bringing Laporte in would definitely help build that back line. And obviously, they're going to be getting at least 100 million. So then they can throw some money into the midfield. They can throw some money into one of their forwards. Danny Ings might be a nice cheap option for them to get from Southampton. We've seen him, he's able to score. There's probably a few other players on the market that they could pick up and buy and place in that position. Maybe even some of the teams that just got relegated, pick up one or two of those guys and bring them back up to Tottenham. Their midfield, not as solid as it should be, but again, they still have some really good players in the midfield. By bringing one or two more players in there and slotting them in could really help out Tottenham. Now, again, being a Chelsea fan, I don't really care how well the team performs because, again, I don't like seeing them win anything, and therefore, this is just my speculation on what they should do. Now, Raheem Sterling, if he were to come, I don't think that's a good fit because you already have Son on that left side, and that's kind of where Raheem Sterling plays. And I think it'd be really difficult to play both those players at the same time because I think they're going to have the same type of skill sets, same options, and therefore you're not going to get the best of both of them out of that. So I think that's just an option that's going to be pushed to the side. Now, Gabriel Jesus, that itself could be another good option because the player hasn't been getting a lot of playing time. Now, I know Aguero is leaving Manchester City, but if Harry Kane comes in, most likely Harry Kane is starting, and I know Ferran Torres is also trying to get some time with Manchester City, and that could also be the player that really gets some time. So Gabriel Jesus may want to leave and get some playing time as well. Tottenham is kind of a team that you'd want to play for. They definitely do score goals. They do have opportunities, and he could really shine at this club. The only problem is they still didn't have that defensive problem, so they'll still need to rebuild there and put some players and spend most of their money that they get for Harry Kane on the defense then, because again, their CBs are getting a little bit older. They're letting in too many goals. Hugo Lloris can only do so much as a goalkeeper, and therefore, obviously, he needs a better front line right in front of him to stop some of the attacks coming during the Premier League. Now, like I said, this itself has been determined, and Tottenham are not going to accept this first bid. So the 100 plus a player is not going to happen. I really see Daniel Levy doing something like 125, if not 130 plus a player, or doing a little bit less, maybe 90 or so plus two players. Because again, if he can take two players that are really solid for Manchester City, or even three players, swap them in and get some money and buy at least one or two more players to really fit into their system, have a manager that really has their tactics down, this could be really big for Tottenham because they're definitely in the rebuilding phase right now. So if they can bring some players in to help rebuild that, it could really help them long term, because right now, short term, Harry Kane, yes, is the option. Long term, he is not the option. He's going to be 28 the beginning of this season. He's had multiple injuries, and therefore you don't know what can happen with him. So I think the best option for Tottenham is to sell him for a fair price, get the money they need to then build this system back up, because right now, Tottenham by itself is not a team that can compete for any trophies at all. They may have got lucky last season, but I think that was also Jose Mourinho having a bit of effect on the team. Once he left, you saw the fight in that team just disappear, and they looked like the shell of themselves from that whole season. And therefore, they need to bring in some new life, some new players, some players that are really fighting for their position. And I think they can do that if they have enough money from selling Harry Kane. Now, with Man City, again, I think that if they buy Harry Kane, they'll definitely need to swap a few things out because, again, they're going to be paying so much for Harry Kane along with some of their other players that they're going to have to sell some of their players. But also, they're still looking at bringing other players in like Jack Grealish. So if they bring him in along with Harry Kane, I'm not sure if the Premier League is ready for that, because that by itself would be one of the biggest transfer windows in the Premier League. And obviously they have Kevin De Bruyne, Goudion, they have Bernardo Silva, obviously their whole back line solid. Ederson, the team itself would be so stacked. I don't see many teams beating them. So I know Pep Guardiola is trying to make a dominant team that then can also push to the final stage of the Champions League and actually win it, where, as we know, Chelsea beat them this past Champions League. I always mention every video because why not? We're the champions of Europe. So therefore, like I said in this video, getting Harry Kane is a priority for Manchester City. Tottenham, same thing. Selling Harry Kane is a priority because, again, they need to rebuild and get a foundation of newer players along with a manager that can build these players up to going back to where they used to be and actually winning some stuff. Now, again, Manchester City, they already have everything they need. Harry Kane is just a plus to that because, again, their teams are already solid. They only need one or two players to really keep going in the right direction, and obviously Harry Kane is one of them. So that's all I have for you today. If you did enjoy this video, again, make sure to like and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I know you like listening to soccer videos, and hey, this channel is all about soccer and football. We talk about the Premier League. We talk about the Bundesliga. We talk about La Liga. We talk about transfers. We talk about the Euros, World Cup, anything going on related to the sport we hit on. So just drop down a like and watch all the videos. So we'll see you next time.